freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is our round 3 reaction pod for this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational. And joining me to break it all down, it's Kyle Porter, KP. I'm catching my breath, man. This was a day.
If you're on YouTube, I'm doing the Bryson on 6, just pointing.
There it is.
It was an awesome day. I watched all day on Thursday. I was out for something on Friday, so I didn't see anything on Friday. And then I come back on Saturday, and it's like, I don't know how you could draw up a better sort of lead into Saturday afternoon and then the eventual outcome on Sunday. I mean, we got Spieth, we got Westwood, Rory's sort of hanging around, Bryson's just mashing all over the yard. It's phenomenal. Fleetwood is there. We go. We got this up on Twitter. Producer Jacob, or on if you're watching on YouTube, we just got Bryson pointing to the heavens as his 194 mile an hour ball speed off 6 carries. What was the carry on it, Rick?
I thought it was 60 something. I can find out. Something like that.
It was. How about this? Let's start here. I want to know what you think about this. Bryson is a goober. Like, he just does all these, like, just, I mean, yep. There's not a better word to describe him. I think he's become, has he become likable?
So here's the problem with Bryson is he is very likable when things go good for him.
Okay.
When things go south and he gets into an argument with a cameraman, or he has his caddy block a camera, or he said when you can't have it both ways. If he's like this all the time and he can be a little bit self-deprecating, like imagine if that ball goes in the water after he's thrown his hands up in the air or something like that. Like, I don't know what his reaction would have been, KP. But like, so in this moment, he is very likable, but there is a sample of times when things go sour that he gets sour.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was thinking about, he did this interview when he was playing in Europe to start the year, and it was about the equipment stuff. And he was really, he did his like science thing or whatever, but he was also really thoughtful about it in a way that I was like, oh, that's kind of endearing. And I feel like you've seen moments like that where it's like, do I like him? Do I not? But I think you're right. I think like when he does the thing at Memorial and it's all like, I still think the whole thing is a little bit of like he's sort of a self-parody at times. And that's probably his primary allure for people like us who are creating content.
Whether he is likable or not, that's one conversation. He might be, and Jordan Spieth might be the other guy, the most entertaining guy on the PGA Tour. Whether it is the bombs, the fire ants, the arguments, the comments, the pressers, like he is, we say he's a content machine. He is an unbelievably entertaining human being / golfer.
It is interesting because you've got all these guys that we talk about all the time that, like, if they're on the leaderboard. And sometimes if they're not, and it seems like stuff just always happens. Like stuff just always happens to Bryson, and you're like, well, that doesn't happen to Richie Werenski. Is that because I don't see him on the leaderboard and on the broadcast, or is it because of some other? I don't know. It is weird, and it's fitting that, like you said, two of the guys that is the most true of they were almost paired together on Sunday.
That would have been, oh my God. That would have not that I have plans for Sunday, but like I would have canceled every plan and done whatever it takes to watch the entirety. I mean, we're just going to, for the first time in First Cut podcast history, we're just going to skip the guy at the top. We'll get back to him in a second. Let's just put a cap on Bryson here because he shoots a 68 on Saturday. He's one shot back off of Lee Westwood's lead. Obviously what he does at number 6, which is he takes a line that nobody took. I still stand, KP, that he was not trying to drive the green. He took a line that was much more aggressive than we've seen probably ever at number 6 at Bay Hill, and he probably could have driven the green with how far he hit it, but he in fact did not try to drive the green.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't have the numbers in front of me. How short was he? Was it like 40 yards short, 60?
You're like his next shot, like he was like 60 yards in. But like
60,
the camera
okay.
angle, the way it made it looked like it probably could have landed on the front edge of the green if you took that line.
So, but yeah, I think you're right. Like, and I don't know that he's ever, I think it's just easier for him to say, yeah, I'm going to drive the green, even though that's not like the way that shot is set up. It doesn't, like, it's very dumb to actually try and like hit the stick essentially. Like right. you like your miss, like you want to give yourself at least a little room for error off to the right. Because you can't go left, right? Okay, we can see it here. I mean, look how like if you're actually aiming for the pin. So this is up on YouTube, and you miss at all like left or short, like that's over, right? And so I think the landing area is actually where I think he hit it like you said, exactly where he was aiming for.
Right. You could never even hold the green. So if you're going to be over the green, you might as well not take on all the risk and just have, 40 yards in or 50 yards in. He had 59 yards in is what that number was.
But this is the deal. Like, this is the future, right? Like, this is what 20 guys are going to be doing in 2028 at Arnold Palmer. Wow, we've got video on here. No, we don't. Sorry about that, producer.
I had it. Producer Jacob was killing it there for a second. That was awesome.
But it's just it's so what he does, and we've talked about this a billion times. It's such an advantage when you have 60 yards in on a par 5. And it's not just this. We've been focused on the 6th hole. He did it on 10. He's done it on so many different holes this week, and he's gaining what his strokes gain number off the tee is just a joke. He's averaging
the field.
He's averaging
5.8. He's 2 shots clear of everybody else in total.
Yeah. So Sungjae's second at whatever that is.
3.8.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been super impressive. And the thing for him is just all about what happens because he's normally drives it this well or close to it, but he's actually hitting his irons pretty well this week. He's given himself birdie and eagle opportunities and taking advantage. We talk about Rory at this place. Bryson is killed at Bay Hill. He's been awesome here.
Yeah, he absolutely has. The guy he's going to try to track down on Sundays, Lee Westwood, who is 1 shot clear thanks to a Saturday 65. And KP, the last time he was in a final group on Sunday at any PGA Tour event, the 2013 Open Championship. That's the year Phil won it. Westwood finished T3. So here we go again. Westwood, and I think he would break a lot of records or at least be in like top 5, oldest guys to win on the PGA Tour, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. He's what, 47?
47.
47. I guess Phil won at 49 or 48 or whatever. So it's not, it's not preposterous. We've got a little kind of a podcast battle going on, by the way, because we've got Andy Johnson over at Shotgun Start. I think he owns Westy Island, and then obviously I have just loads of property on Spieth Island. So we've got some.
What happens to these islands when they win? Do they come back to is it like a Pangea situation? Do they come back to the larger landmass? Like what? Like, I don't understand. I guess it'd be a reverse Pangea.
I don't know. What does become a Spieth Island if he shoots 64 tomorrow and wins by 2? Like, do we celebrate? Do we build a fire? I don't know what we do. I enjoy Spieth Island, so I want to stay there. Has Westy ever won on the PGA Tour?
Yes, twice. He won listen to this. So he has 44 professional wins, 2 of them on the PGA Tour. The 1998 Freeport McDermott Classic. Remember that one, KP? That was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. I podcasted after that one too.
Yeah, our reaction pod that week was phenomenal. And the 2010 St. Jude Classic, in which he won a 3-way playoff with Robert Garrigus and Robert Carlson.
Okay, so
it's been 11 years.
2010 was right before the Pebble Beach U.S. Open, because that was always right before the U.S. Open, right?
I
think that
sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't remember. I didn't remember the Memphis win. Yeah, I mean, look, he's an awesome ball striker, and we were talking before we came on. This Bay Hill has been you see it happen. And I think, especially if it gets windy tomorrow, you'll see it even more. The greens they got bouncy late, right? Like, and it wasn't, I don't think it was super dry or windy or anything like that. There was even a little bit of rain or precipitation. So that's where somebody like Westwood is going to just absolutely thrive, is if it gets bouncy, if it gets windy, that'll be his deal. I do get concerned like if he's got a bunch of 4-footers that he has to, as Andy said on Twitter earlier this week, kind of steer into the hole. That's not going to be a pretty sight.
No, it's not. Apparently someone in the chat, Token Tea Times, does remember that event in Memphis in 2010 because Robert Garrigus, quote, puked tripled the 72nd hole, I guess, to even get into that playoff. So there you go. There's some good St. Jude Classic knowledge from the chat. Corey Connors is the man who went into Saturday's round with the lead. I was pretty impressed with Corey Connors. It's very easy to kind of get lost in the mix with what Bryson's doing, with what Spieth is doing, with everybody flying up the leaderboard. Rory was at the top when the day started. There was just a lot going on. And when the dust settles, Corey Connors shoots a 1 under 71. He's one back and he's still in the mix of it. And this is what I think Corey Connors is really dangerous, KP, which is like no one expects him to win. Just no one. He should not win this golf tournament. He can go out and just freewheel this thing.
Yeah, he and again, great ball striker, right? Like that's what you're seeing at the top of this board, and that's not unusual, obviously, at a golf tournament to have the best ball strikers rise up to the top. But I think it's especially true at a place like Bay Hill. I think he's fascinating tomorrow if there's weather. Now he's putted it really well this week, so you and I are always kind of dodgy on that. Like, is that good? Is it bad? Like, with somebody like him, you never know when it's going to kind of fall off a cliff. So I think he's going to give himself a chance. It's just whether or not he can take advantage of it.
Greg was very much on the camp of, these Bermuda greens are a lot flatter. This kind of helps those hashtag team no putt guys, Corey Connors, Keegan Bradley, both in the mix. Westwood, also not a great putter, right?
Yeah.
So
Connors won what? Texas Open?
Yeah, Valero 2 years ago.
Was that Bermuda? Do we know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
It's got to be right. No, it could be Bent because it's in. I'd have to look. I can find out for you.
I'm just throwing you under the bus on a live show. That's great.
That's okay. All good. While I get that, let's do this. Jordan Alexander Spieth. He made. Let's just do this.
Is that his middle name?
Yeah, I looked it up earlier. so that I could do that bit right there.
That's fantastic.
He makes birdie, ace, and hits his ball in the water all in his first 5 shots of the day, Kyle. I mean, we know he's entertaining, but this is next level. And the magic that this guy has is bottomless. It's a bottomless magic pit. It's unbelievable.
It's almost like every time you think that he can't ratchet up the entertainment value, he takes it up another level, another notch. I mean, to go birdie 1 water, and but somebody I think No Lane Up pointed it out. By the 4th hole, him and Rose, who were playing together, were separated by 50 positions on the leaderboard after 3 holes. And he didn't finish great, but man, it just I don't know that he's going to win on Sunday. He probably won't. I mean, the odds when you're in the position that he's in, where you're 2 back with 3 guys ahead of you and Fleetwood and Rory right behind you, your odds are not very good there. He's probably got Data Golf probably has him at a 7% chance, something like that, maybe less, maybe more.
8.3. There
you go. So he's probably not going to win on Sunday, but I think that I think I'm prepared. I'm not stating this. This is not an official statement, but I think I am very close to being prepared to saying that he is like, this is it. Like he's back. Jordan Spieth is fully formed, back to where he should be. And that doesn't mean he's going to win 3 majors again in the future, but it does mean that like this is going to be who he is going forward, which if we get this for the next any amount of time, that's phenomenal.
It's getting harder and harder to argue with. I mean, he's just in great form. He's doing it with the irons. The drivers actually cooperated to an extent this week. Real quick, Valero Texas Open, TPC San Antonio, that is champion Bermuda grass. So there you go. Corey Connors loves himself some Bermuda. It's funny because Jordan Spieth is now going to be 2 shots back. He shot a 68, his best round of the week, Kyle, and he described his round afterwards as, quote, leaking some oil. It was like, that's pure Spiethian. Leak oil all day long, shoot a 68, your best round of the week, be 2 shots back heading into Sunday.
Well, the thing I go back to, though, and you mentioned it, so I looked it up, his last 15 rounds, so starting with round 2, because we didn't get round 1 measurement at Torrey, because he was on the North course. So starting with round 2 at Torrey, he's been positive strokes gained with his irons in 12 of them. And that's the whole deal. Like that's just the whole thing for him. And there's going to be bad days off the tee. I think he can get it to where it's passable, but if his iron play is awesome, like it has been this week, like it was in Phoenix, like it was for the most part at Pebble, then the short game is good enough that he's gonna figure out how to score. Right? You can't score if you're leaving yourself 43 feet from the hole. Like people are like, oh, well, he just makes about you can't make those putts. Like that's not a real thing. But when your proximity is 35 feet, 33 feet, whatever as you're kind of inching down. That's the point where you see some of the magic from Spieth where he can score. And that's what we've seen over the last 2 months. And so I'm pretty close to being able to put the stamp on it and say that he's back.
He just needs to give himself 18 25 footers around, and he'll make enough of them because he'll make more than everybody else. Like
doesn't like 31 feet lead the tour in proximity to the hole? Like isn't that
probably?
So if you're 25 feet, you're the
best iron player on tour.
I guess if they're all 25 footers, though, that's not great.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of that's the other thing. Most people don't realize. Quick tangent. When you watch golf on Sunday and the guy hits like a wedge to 15 feet and the announcer's like, "Oh, that's a B+." No, like that's like way better than tour average. But we're spoiled because we only see the good shots on television. So that's a great point. I've never thought about it in that. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That's good. Love it. Quickly on Rory McIlroy. Man, he just can't figure this out. He opens up with a Thursday 66. He goes rounds of 71, 72, and Saturday was pretty atrocious on approach. He had wedge in hand often or short iron in hand, and he did nothing with it. He lost 2.5 strokes to the field. He was one of the worst approach players of the entire day. Yeah, and what happened on Saturday is why, when we were talking before the tournament and Mark was so bullish on him, and I agree, like Rory, like Mark said, rolls out of bed and it's a top 10 at Bay Hill, and it probably will be again this year. But the sharpness with some of his iron play, it's just not there, and he'll catch it for a round and you're like, oh, what, is this it? And then it's not. And I don't know. The consistency with his iron play just hasn't been there like some of the other guys at the top of the board. So I mean, Saturday is disappointing, I thought. He did more head scratching with a short iron in his hands than I've seen him do in quite some time here on Saturday. He was the only golfer inside the top 10 who didn't break par. Yeah. Is that not what you expect from him right now, though? Not, and I don't mean like Rory's unbelievable, right? Like he's going to go out and he's going to finish T6 this week. And you're like, did he even play good? And that's a sign of somebody who's really, really good. But is it your expectation for him right now? Like, I know he might shoot a 65 on Thursday or Friday, but I don't expect him to kind of boat race everybody. Like sometimes I have expected in the past. Is that where you're at with him? Yeah, because we now almost have we have 9 months of him being what is essentially slightly better than tour average with his irons and his wedges, which is nowhere near what he was before the shut. He was so much better before the shutdown. So we have 9 months of that. We also have plenty of anecdotal evidence when he goes over to the European Tour and he shoots the round of the day twice in the same week and doesn't win the golf tournament because his other 2 rounds, he can't put anything together. Like, yeah, we are getting a much larger sample size of this now, almost a year's worth of Rory McIlroy doing seemingly the same thing every single week. Yeah, and
It's confusing because like you said, he's shooting the round of the day twice and losing by. It's like
five strokes or whatever he lost by. That's almost impossible.
It is weird. It's like he it's almost like he's so good that he struggles to scrape something together on the days where he doesn't have it. Because it's befuddling why he would not be this, why this would ever happen. And so I know that's a dumb take, but it's sort of there's not a lot of ways to frame it that make a ton of sense.
I agree. Something's got to give for Rory at this point. And now the tour's too deep and all these guys are too good for him to win with like his B- stuff for the week. It's good for a ton of top 10s and a ton of top 5s, but unfortunately Rory doesn't get graded on top 5s and top 10s.
No, but again, he might shoot 63 on Sunday and win.
I hope he does.
Like that would.
Could you imagine? 4 back he wins this golf tournament heading into the Players next week? My God,
that would be. Well, he did it. He 64 in what 2018
when he won here. Yeah,
I think he shot 64 on Sunday. Can we, producer Jacob, can you throw the odds up there just so we can look at them?
Yeah, here we go. It's time for that anyway. So Bryson DeChambeau, 1 shot back, is your betting favorite. Thanks to our friends over at William Hill. He's 2-1. Lee Westwood, who is 1 shot clear, 5-1 to close out his first PGA Tour victory in 11 years. Corey Connors, 6-1. Spieth, 7.5-1. And then we get to the double digits, and you don't get a great deal on Rory. He's 11-1 and 4 shots back. He's the six shortest odds here.
Yeah, I don't love that. Fleetwood's odds aren't very enticing either. He's 3 back and 10-1. Fleetwood he's never won on the PGA Tour.
Correct. Yeah, and he's coughed a couple up here in Florida, I think, too, in the process.
Yeah, I don't really like any of these. Do you? I feel like usually I see a couple that I kind of like, and these are just
the only one I would bet is Corey Connors. He's 1 back. He's won before. I think that he gets to sleep. He's not in the final group, right? It's gonna be Bryson and Westwood.
And then Connors and Keegan. No,
is it Connors? I hope it's Connors and Keegan.
It is Connors and Keegan. Keegan was finished way before Spieth.
That is,
I think Spieth and Fleetwood, which is great.
It is Spieth and Fleetwood, then Jazz and Doug Gim. How about that for a 4th group? So Corey Connors, who has won before, who is a ball striking maven, who is unfortunately riding a hot putter, but he only needs to do it for 18 more holes. Flying under the radar, nobody expects him to win. 6-1 is the only guy I would bet. I don't love it. He's probably not going to win, but that's the only one I would actually pull the trigger on of the short guys.
Yeah, I think I agree. Spieth is just I don't. It would just be terrifying. He's not even fun. It's just a haunted house for 4 straight hours.
Terrell Hatton, by the way, best player in the field over the last 2 rounds. He's gained 10.5 shots on the field. Unfortunately, he opened up with a 77, or else he would be right in the mix here too.
Yeah, he lost 4 strokes putting on Thursday.
Not good.
That is not good. But yeah, I mean, can you bet top 10s after round 1?
Yeah, some books will let you do that. I don't know if William Hill offers them.
He would have been.
I won't name another for contractual reasons.
Yeah, thanks. He would have been a great top 10, finish in the top 10 after round 1 because
there's no way he was going to lose 4 strokes putting again.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't honestly I usually like at least 1, if not 2 of these on here, and I don't like any of. I mean, I might like Day at 60 more than I like any of the first 7 guys.
That's actually not bad. He's played well. Is he at what's he at 6 under? No,
he's 5. He's 5 back. Yeah,
that's not bad. That's not bad. Next week Day could be interesting too. He's played well. Anything else before we get out of here? 3 rounds completed the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Hit me.
Producer Jacob's about to hit you with a new special from our guy.
Well, first cut. I don't mind the first cut.
I forgot about that. I'm so glad you remembered that.
A ring-in endorsement. I don't mind the first cut. Neither do I. I hope everybody listening feels the same.
That is generally, I think, the reaction we get to this podcast. I don't mind it. If it's in the feed and I've listened to the other 3 or 4 pods I like better, I don't mind this one. That is an endorsement. I think we should get credit for that.
For sure. Yeah. We should put endorsed by Jordan Spieth on our Twitter profile, everything.
Jordan Spieth cannot stop talking about the first cut. The guy gives us a soundbite nearly every single week.
He can't stop talking. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like the drop that he had on 16, the par 5, or not the drop, but when it was
how did that stay? Was that the one that like how did that stay out?
It like bounced. It bounced backward.
How?
Or like straight up, because the way the rough was, maybe Patty Reed was in the pond and threw it out. The way the rough was matted. You know how like sometimes it's running against you, so it almost like hit it and then bounced back. But he just talked through the whole thing. He's talking about, well, that's a terrible shot, but you know the lie was worse than I thought, and then I can't give myself 40 feet because I can't make the putt. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like how does he have this much energy throughout a round?
I always like when he's like, that was a worse lie than I thought, Michael. Like he always like calls out Michael, just so we know who you're talking to, so it's not as crazy if he's just throwing it out in the ether. He's actually talking to somebody. I always love when he does that.
Totally, and it's like when you're hedging. Like I do this with my wife where I'm like, I can't think of a great example. Like, I tell her like, hey, you know, somebody invited me to play golf today, but I'm not going to go. Like, I don't have to tell her that, but I'm doing it to get credit. So he's doing that with Grower to where he's like, that was a worse lie than I thought. So the Grower will think that it's a better shot than it looked like.
Right. He's building up brownie points with his caddy so that he can redeem them later. I love it. It's gonna be a fun Sunday, one way or another. Producer Jacob, thank you very much, doing all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, that's Kyle Porter. You can follow him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. You can follow me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.